Welcome to episode 208 of the Grip Strip Podcast, the Daytona Follies edition of the Grip Strip Podcast. My name is Philip Matthew. I'm your host, and I'm with my co-host, the iRacing Indy 500 champion, computer genius, a gentleman and a scholar, and someone who competed in the iRacing Daytona 500 last week. His name is Joshua Fine. What's going on, brother?
Hey, I'm doing great, Phil. Actually competing in it twice because I also did the one last night at 9 p.m. on Sunday night, but as well in addition to the one on Friday. But we'll talk about that later. But yeah, a lot of follies in real life and in the Sims. So yeah, a lot of things that left to be desired, of course. But that's why we're here to go over it.
Yeah, we're going to go over the delayed Daytona 500, which finished earlier this evening since we recorded on a Monday, and saw William Byron and Hendrick Motorsports get the victory there. His second win at Daytona, his 11th career victory, and his first in the Great American Race. His path to victory was assisted. He assisted himself along with Alex Bowman in destroying half the field, including the best car probably in the whole entire racetrack all week, which was Joey Logano and the Shell Pennzoil Ford Mustang. Took out Dennis Hamlin, who was up front trying to go and tie Cale Yarborough for 4 Daytona 500 victories. Brad Keselowski, who had hid in the back for basically more than 400 miles, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, moved up front and was battling his old teammate for a chance at the victory there, and ended up on a rollback amongst others. So we'll talk about how Byron and Bowman ended up finishing 1-2 in this race, who ended up finishing because there weren't that many cars that finished that were functional. We'll also talk about the Xfinity race that's going on right now. 14 laps in, they decided to move the race to the night. I'm not sure if there was if it was raining earlier this morning, and that's why they had to move it.
Definitely was.
Okay, so I wasn't aware. All I saw was it was being moved to the evening, and then I went back to sleep. So we'll talk about the Xfinity race as we go along, and we'll talk about the debacle that was the whole entire day of Friday at Daytona. The Truck Series race, which was an absolute waste, pathetic. You consider 24 years ago, they ran the Truck Series at Daytona with no restrictor plates, and they had great racing, albeit the Jeff Bodine crash took place, but that wasn't a product of no restrictor plates. It was more a fact of kind of similar to what took place on Friday, where lack of experience and people who don't know what they're doing being in big spots going and causing a massive wreck, or wrecks in the case of Friday's race. We'll also briefly talk about the ARCA race in the GSP Roundup, talk about ARCA, the Supercross, Rally Sweden, Extreme E, MotoGP is testing this week. Bathurst 12-hour took place this past weekend, which was very entertaining, and there will be the Bathurst 500 to open the 2024 Supercar season. The defending series champion will not be there driving, and most of the sponsors that were on his car will not be there either. We'll briefly look at the Le Mans 24-hour entry list, which will have 23 hypercars out of what probably I think is 60 car field. So that'll be pretty good, pretty cool. We'll talk about Formula One testing at Bahrain, their one and only test prior to the start of the 2024 Formula One season. We'll preview the Atlanta triple header. All three major series will be there. And the Tate Fogelman will make our preview pick, and Tate Fogelman algorithm will be back in use again this week, and go into hibernation until Talladega in April or wherever, May, wherever the hell it is. So it'll be some time off for that. Josh will let us know how things went for him in Daytona on the sim, and we'll close the deal. I'll also give credit to our usual guest and friend Joe Passero out in Daytona watching the 500 earlier. I'm not sure if he's at the 300 right now, but he did reply. So not going to sit in the traffic and not get a free race. Yeah. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
It's because there's going to be way less traffic leaving after the Xfinity race than if he had went right after the 500, and he paid for a ticket for the 500. Why not get a free race out of it? So credit to him on that. So let's start with the Daytona 500. The race was moved to Monday very early because of rain issues during the weekend. The race basically was pretty clean. There's only 3 actual yellows, and because 2 of them were for stages. Then there was the big wreck that took place with a few laps to go, and then the yellow that ended the race itself. There was the wreck early, lap 6, which took out a few cars in that one as well. But in the end, the 2 cars that triggered the biggest wreck of the whole entire race, William Byron and Alex Bowman, ended up being 1-2 at the end of the deal. William Byron becomes a Daytona 500 champion. Bowman finishes second. They didn't win the front row for the first time in years. Hendrick Motorsports in their 40th year, but in their 40th year, Fat Felon gets another Daytona 500 victory. Byron, Bowman, Christopher Bell, who had won one of the duels on Thursday, Corey LaJoie, who was Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s pick to win the race, Darrell Wallace Jr. in 5th, AJ Allmendinger, who's of course running limited races this year, but says he would have rather stayed in the Cup Series full time, finishes 6th. John Hunter Nemechek, who was involved in the lap 6 incident very early in the day, came all the way back to finish 7th with his teammate Eric Jones, that Jones boy behind him, in 8th. Noah Gagson, who started 38th, finished 9th, and Chase Briscoe rounded out the top 10. There were 20 cars that finished on the lead lap. The stage winners were William Clyde Elliott II in stage 1, and in stage 2 was defending Cup Series champion Ryan Blaney. The driver who led the most laps was the pole sitter, Joey Logano. Didn't score any stage points, so a bit of a deficit to start his 2023-4 campaign. Loses out on a bunch of points there. Huge wreck. Wow.
Mayer.
Sam Mayer, and then whoever was behind him just decided to drive into him. I don't know why. Knocked the radiator out of it, and I think Miss Hummer 2.0 was involved in that one too.
Looks like, Haley Deegan involved. Looks like.
Yeah, so the 91 I think is what the hell's his name? That Wisconsin guy. Oh, Suarez. gets taken out in that wreck. So that's a one-off, so doesn't really matter. Miss Summer 2.0. I'm forgetting the guy in the 91 car, but he's running for points full time. Deegan's running for points. And of course, Sam Maier's running for points. So that's a big knock for them to start the season. So he got turned. So somebody turned Suarez, and then he got into the one car and then just got slammed by Miss Summer 2.0. And then Balicki, that's his
Balicki,
name. That's his name. Josh Balicki in the 91 for DGM. Arca braked his way into Sam Mayer. Huge hit for Sam Mayer. Massive hit, got right reared there. And then Balicki had nothing to do with the wreck and then just Arca braked his way into it. Rough day for Daniel Suarez. Destroyed twice in the matter of a couple of hours. So I'm sure he's happy to leave Daytona. Figured he was trophy hunting for Colleague Racing, but that thing is going on a rollback. Or going to the garage. I don't know who hit him. If maybe it was Sam Mayer that hit him. So it was just cause for doing that. And massive hit for him. The 92 also got involved. So the 91 and the 92 is Balicki, I think. So yeah. So I don't know who was in the 91 car. You have to go back there. 91 is Kyle Weatherman. All right. So yeah, Kyle Weatherman Arca braked his way into that deal. So that is that. So let's get back to it though. So in terms of a big wreck, there was one on lap 6 or 5 or 6, whatever, which took out which was started by Brad Keselowski getting into I don't know who got into him, but he then went and got into this 42 car, got sideways, got in a 42 car, and that spun Harrison Burton and Carson Hocevar, who were up front. Also took out Kaz Gralla, who made the race through the duels. Austin Dillon was also involved in that one, and trying to remember who else. The Brian Priest and Jimmy Johnson were involved in that, and then Jimmy Johnson basically after that just drove around the rest of the day. The 3 car had a multitude of issues outside of just that wreck, but finished the race. The 36, the 21, and the 77 were out on the spot, so brutal way to start the year for them. Not making any points really. And Jimmy Johnson in a limited effort is going to run about 10 races this year, but rough start to the season for him. That was the only major incident that took place until lap 193, and that was the big one triggered by the guys that won the race, finished top 2 in the race, destroyed basically everybody else. And I think that's really where we have to start, Josh. I mean, that wreck was huge. Ryan Blaney had already had one hard wreck earlier this week in his dual race. Took another hard hit in this one. Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, hearkening back to 2021, getting hooked in the left rear, right rear, whatever it is. Brad Keselowski gets hooked in his right rear, and he runs into Joey Logano's left rear, triggers a big one, takes out everybody. The defending race winner, oh, Richard, amongst others, Ryan Blaney, Tyler Reddick, who won the other duel race. They kept on saying Denny Hamlin won the duel, but he didn't. You had in that one, you had Gumby was in it, Larson, Keselowski, William Clyde Elliott II, Gagson, Hamlin, Blaney, Chase Briscoe, somehow or another made it through. Christopher Buescher, Martin Truex Jr., Christopher Bell, Joey Logano, Byron, Daniel Hemrick, Todd Gilliland, Ryan Preece, Eric Jones, mentioned Reddick, Richard, Alex Bowman, Keebler Gibbs, Anthony Alfredo, and Daniel Suarez. So that was the entire field, and really the race was shaping up to be a battle between the former teammates, one who hasn't won the 500, one who has, and had arguably the best car in the racetrack the whole week. And then Ross Chastain, who had moved up and had gotten himself in a position to win the Daytona 500 in his first race for Busch. And he was in there. He was in position, putting up epic blocks or whatever, paraphrasing what Joey Logano said in his post-wreck interview. But that wreck really was the precursor to what we ended up seeing in the end. They had been pretty tame. Race had been clean. There hadn't been a whole hell of a lot that went on outside of when they were racing for the stage points. Little bit of activity on the pit stops. Josh Berry had a wild day, to say the least, in his first Daytona 500. Some other guys, Preece had a very active day, too. But in the grand scheme of things, the whole race was really determined by that wreck, because it took out a lot of the best cars, took out a lot of the Fords in the process, and probably the best Toyota in three-time Daytona 500 winner Denny Hamlin. But the Chevys ended up being able to get through that, the vast majority of them. All the Hendrick cars were up there. And that was really where it was there. So what do we take away from that? It's a part of super speedway racing. Unfortunately, that at some point it's just going to end up where they're going to start wadding up and making massive blocks and huge bumps, and they're going to destroy a lot of the field. But as for what, similar to 2021, but now they're not teammates anymore. Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski are left wanting. Another Daytona 500. Logano finished second last year, has finished second in this race, I think, twice since winning the Daytona 500 in 15. And then Brad has been as close as anybody to not come through with the victory. They go home with destroyed race cars, but wonder if they really could have won this deal if they were able to make it to the end.
Yeah, it's just a product of the racing that we have at the big tracks, and everybody all kind of bunched up together at the end. Everybody's stacked, and everybody's, if you're not in front, you're pushing somebody, and you're just pushing like hell until you get to a point, and it either gets you up to the lead or jacks up the guy in front of you and causes the wreck. And that's what we saw there with Alex Bowman, William Byron getting together and making a charge toward the lead, and William gets sideways there and clips Brad Keselowski, and Brad goes and makes the spin into Logano, and then off they go, and everybody gets collected. So it's just a tough deal there, and took out a lot of good cars. And kind of ruined the streak there, because from basically lap 10 until lap 193, they went caution free, and incredible that they even lasted that long. But we've seen that it seems to be the trend since they've gotten used to this package now. Since the last Talladega race in 2022, it seemed like they've raced fairly clean for the most part. The beginning to the end. I mean, obviously there's still gonna be wrecks, but relatively clean, where we don't really have too many incidents throughout the race, and that's what this was. And part of it's probably just because everybody's trying to get the hell out because it's Monday and they've got to go get ready for Atlanta and all that stuff. But just unfortunate there with those two guys getting together, and it looked like that they might have a shot for the lead. And then, of course, Ross Chastain's trying to throw as many blocks as he could, and I think he was going to get passed there by Keselowski, but it looked like maybe he was going to get help up the middle from Byron and Bowman there, two Chevys there. But yeah, just kind of the ending there, kind of anticlimactic, because you'd like to see the last lap play out, and that's kind of like what makes it a bummer for me. It's not really that, it's the two guys that kind of started the whole big one in the first place, or that it's two Hendrick guys up there with William Byron kind of being the poster boy for Hendrick now these days. It looks like being up there. It's not really that. It's just that they couldn't complete the last lap. And yeah, it's a precursor because, and we talked about it before the show, with Corey LaJoie, jacking up Austin Cindric right as they were coming up to the tri-oval. You saw it looked like Chastain kind of made the move to possibly win the race there, coming to the white flag, and right as he was kind of crossing over, you could see Austin Cindric kind of turn back to the right, and he was getting jacked up by Corey LaJoie there in the left rear. So that's kind of what caused that accident there at the end. So yeah, just kind of unfortunate how it always plays out. And talked about it on Twitter, like 3 out of the last 4 races in the Daytona 500 have had an incident on the last lap. In 2020, of course, big Ryan Newman wreck there. 21, of course, the backstretch wreck that ended up with McDowell winning, which kind of is a precursor to what we were seeing these days. And then last year they wrecked in the middle of turn 1 and 2. This year they wrecked coming to the white flag. So you just wonder if, to me, like, and I don't want to be a pessimist or whatever, but you wonder if they're ever going to have a clean finish in the Daytona 500. Of course, we wonder if they're ever going to let the last lap play out and let it play out cleanly. We saw it in 22 where they had a relatively clean finish, but of course it came after massive amounts of restarts and everything, I think, in that one. And this one, of course, still kind of the same deal, but they had at least a few laps of build up where you could kind of see what was going to happen on the last lap, possibly there. But yeah, just kind of anticlimactic. I was thinking maybe the move to the win might happen coming into turn 3. Kind of saw a preview of what could have been the finish, with Ryan, or not Ryan Blaney, but Austin Cindric kind of making the move on Harrison Burton there in the first duel, and then Tyler Reddick able to kind of make the move in the second duel to to win that one. And then you saw in the conclusion to stage 2, Ryan Blaney there going, and I thought he was going to stick with his teammate there to the end, but ended up passing Austin Cindric there in turn 3 to go out and win the stage. And I thought maybe that might be the finish to the race there, because it's really hard with these cars to make a last lap pass coming off of turn 4 unless you have a huge run. And I think with the way that this package is, you really have to start making your move on the backstretch and going into turn 3, and thought that was going to be, but ended up not being the case. Of course, Chastain and Cindric spinning, and then Cindric spinning back onto the track, and that's when they threw the caution. And right when they threw it right there, they were just exiting the turn, and Byron was just in front of Bowman. A little bit of discussion on Twitter whether that was a kind of a impression of the 2002 Indy 500 with Tracy and Castro Neves there, but I think the pictures kind of show, and Fox did a really bad job of kind of demonstrating it, but they did come forward afterwards with, I think, Mike Ford from NASCAR coming forward and showing, hey, well, here's when we threw the caution, and you could see that basically the front nose of Byron's car was in front of Bowman there at the end. So, oh, so close for Bowman, but it is what it is. But which I would have preferred, honestly, Bowman over William Byron there. But yep, start off the year 24 goes wins the Daytona 500 in 24, and honestly, with Atlanta next week, he might go 2 for 2 to start out the year. We'll see.
Entirely possible. He won the first ever race on the super speedway configuration, Atlanta Motor Speedway, and coming off of his best year of his career. I think now he's engaged to Aaron Blaney. So there's a lot of things, good things going on for inbred Byron. You think about William Clyde Elliott getting a stage win. You had the 48 there with him. The 5 car arguably was one of the fastest cars in the whole racetrack. Photo finished to the line for stage 1. They did a 1-lap shootout, and Jesse Love gets the victory in stage 1 over Austin Hill, his teammate, and then their corporate teammate, Parker Kligerman, pushing the 2 car to the win there. The Anthony Alfredo car, which I think might have an RCR connection with Chris Sauer, finished 4th, so they'll come back and show us that. So stage 1 over after the wreck that took place. Went over the top 10 in the results. Larson, Kyle Busch, who led 12 laps and basically was able to run, do whatever he wanted at times during this race. Zane Smith in his second Daytona 500, first as a full-time driver. William Clyde Elliott the second, Martin Truex Jr., Hemrick, Keebler Gibbs, Chris Buescher, Denny Hamlin, and David Reagan, who for portions of this race was up front and then also in second place pushing. So for what Brad Keselowski hired him for, he had done the job. They were able to make the show on time, and they were in a position late. He was more likely the person that was going to help Brad try to win this race, but it didn't work out that way. The cars that finished a lap down, Ross Chastain after leading late, Gumby Cindric going for a second Daytona 500, Preece, who was involved, I think, in the 2 big wrecks he was a part of, but somehow or another ended up being a lap down. Riley Herbst, Josh Berry, so 3 Stewart Haas, either actual cars or affiliated cars. Justin Haley, who was running up front at one point, had issues with his Rick Ware Racing cars. The 2 Rick Ware Racing cars, I don't think were indicative of how they were running. Unfortunately, they'd run better than where they finished. Alfredo, Jimmy Johnson, and then we're getting into the guys that were involved in the big wreck there. Michael McDowell had electrical problems. He started on the outside pole, had a decent piece. The Love's travel stops forward, but once he had the electrical problems, he was just driving around the rest of the day. So unfortunate for him. I think that was an opportunity. He knows there was an opportunity to go out there and possibly get a second Daytona 500 victory as well for him. Points are what they are here in terms of, Byron will end up the points leader by 9 over Bowman. And then third place is Darrell Wallace Jr. Fourth will be Kyle Busch. Fifth Fifth is Kyle Larson. Sixth, Corey LaJoy. Or sixth, Christopher Bell. Seventh, Corey LaJoy. Tied with Chase Elliott. And ninth will be John Hunter Nemechek. And 10th will be Eric Jones, heading over to Atlanta next week. I was doing it off of my head, or no, actually I was wrong. Okay, so Byron, Bowman, Bell, Elliott, Bubba Wallace, John Hunter Nemechek, Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, Eric Jones, and Corey LaJoy tied with Austin Cindric for 10th. And then what is it called? Denny Hamlin, Briscoe 13th, Zane Smith, Noah Gagson, Martin Truex Jr. in a 3-way tie with Chastain and Reddick. Keebler gives a point back. So there you go. That's the points report from Daytona for the Cup Series for the Daytona 500. Xfinity Series race is still going on, obviously, so they're only a stage in. They're about to pit at the end of stage 1. So we will get to the Truck Series race, the Fresh from Florida 250 for the Craftsman Truck Series. That one was a demolition derby in every which way. It might have been an embarrassment to demolition derbies all over the country for as bad as it was. 12 cautions for 52 laps, and the race went 101 laps, so more than half the race was run under yellow, which is embarrassing. In the end, the driver that led the most laps ended up winning the race. Driver who led the second most laps was in the garage. It was a Chevy benefit, essentially, the whole entire day. Nick Sanchez, who had won the pole for this race last year, started 6th this year, gets his first career victory. Came so close multiple times last year. Ends up getting the victory here. I'm looking back at I was close. Wow. That was really close there. I picked Brad and he was up there when he had a chance to win. I picked the whole team. It's funny, on my NASCAR.com fantasy, I basically picked these 5 guys as part of my team, and then I picked a random bench person, so that probably doesn't look good, but oh well. In the end, we had Nick Sanchez over Corey Heim, the regular season champion last year, who lost his mind at the end of the race at Phoenix. Rajah Caruth, who was my pick to win, finished 3rd, pushing his teammate and buddy Nick Sanchez to the line there. Brett Holmes, who led 13 laps in this race, former Daytona winner, I think, or at least a super speedway winner in the ARCA series. Spencer Boyd with his own team finished 5th. Stephen Parsons, who was involved in at least one or two wrecks. Well, I shouldn't say one wreck. I think every single person in this race was involved in multiple wrecks. Outside of like Timmy Hill, who ran tailback and stayed out of everything, and Brian Doza, who was driving around a quarter throttle. In terms of lap leaders, Sanchez led the most laps with 26. Johnny Sauter, who qualified on the outside pole and won a stage, led 24 laps. Tyler Ankrum, in his first race for Mack and Ali Hilgeman, finished 11th. He led the 3rd most laps, and then Brett Holmes, 4th most laps led. They were all double-digit lap leaders. Everybody else that led only single-digit amount of laps. So I said Sanchez, Heim, Carruth, Brett Holmes, Spencer Boyd, Parsons, Matt Crafton, trying to win Daytona. He's been in every single Daytona Truck Series race. Timmy Hill, 8th, Doza, and Christian Eckes rounding out your top 10. The McAnally Hilgeman trucks were up there for a good amount of the race. But the Spire guys at the end, 2 Spire trucks at the end in the top 3. Corey LaJoy had a fast race truck, but ended up getting wrecked. Jack Wood is another one. They're randomly dancing around. I don't know who the hell they are. They got on they did it so they could get on TV. Good for them.
TikTok.
Yeah, probably. That's a good point. Daniel Dye, who's one of Michael Waltrip's dream guys, had his camera in the place for I don't know how many wrecks. He's another one of that group, McAnally, Hilgeman, whatever. So, in the end, they show 18 trucks were running, or 18, 19, 20, 21. 21 of the race's 36 starters were running at the end of 101 laps, but it was basically a destruction derby. Nick Sanchez held on and now finally gets over the hump, gets his first career victory, Josh. Rajah Carruth, his teammate, with the help from the Fat Felon. I guess that's a theme right now. Hendrick affiliated people or Hendrick cars going out there and being in position to win. Rajah Carruth was part of, I think, triggering that late race incident, that last particular incident, but he was able to hold on. And holy crap, Blaine Perkins is lead. Oh, there goes Jesse Love. There it is. There goes AJ Allmendinger.
I think he got in
it. Sammy Smith, Daniel Dye. Speaking of Daniel Dye, the 21 is clean. The 21 made it through, but he's driving through the grass now.
He's on the motorcycle.
He's on
course.
He's on the whatever access road part.
SVG is clean, maybe?
Yeah,
he's slow. I don't know.
He's trying to keep the tires under it so they don't destroy the whole entire race car. Yeah. It's somebody got into the back of Jesse Love. Somebody who spent a lot of the time getting into other people. Namely, what the hell is his name? And now I'm forgetting his name. The guy, that dude that drives for Toyota, the Gibbs. John
Graff.
Hunter. Not Joe Graff, the guy, Sawalich. There you go. William Sawalich. John Hunter bump drafted Love, who then hooked Allmendinger. The 2 got into the 97. The 10 was behind those 2 guys. The 21 got into the 20. The 8 hit or blasted by both of them, but then got taken out by the grass. I thought they said they'd paved all that, but whatever. What do you call Sheldon Creed? Sheldon Creed gets through. Blaine Perkins was leading this race. At one point there, Parker Retzloff got through clean. The 8 car spun back into the traffic. The 21 is clean, so his chance to win a third Daytona race, I think, because he's won it twice, right? Or he's won it once for sure. I don't know, but whatever. That inbreeder, since one inbreeder's already won today, have another one. Yeah, John Hunter, he had an interesting day today. That's the Ryan Priest paving there. They drove over that. But the 21 is clean enough to keep going. Yeah, so I mean, getting back to the Truck Series race though, Josh, it was basically a destruction derby. The Fords, they had some good solid Fords. I mean, Majeski qualified on pole, but they were very darty. For whatever reason, they keep on using this package at super speedways. And for the last two races of the Truck Series, it might be two of the worst races in the history of that whole entire series. And you wonder what they're trying to do by putting that product out there on a regular basis. But the notion of the series being closer to death than it is, I mean, we've been making that comment about the Truck Series dying or being close to dying for the last few years. You would think that Kyle Busch deciding to bail, you would think that GMS, so Maury Gallagher also deciding to bail, would also speak to that, but they're still around. All these people are still around. Oh, Frankie Muniz.
Oh, right front there, exposure. Yep.
But yeah, he was running tailback, I think, so he probably was ancillary damage there. His teammate, or no, like corporate teammate, I think, is that's the Joey Gase car that Frankie Muniz is driving. I assume that they have some connection with the Siegs. Freaking Blaine Perkins is up front. That is something. I mean, you had whatever. I always see the auto park it, and I think of Lawless Allen, and Lawless Allen's driving for Rayum, and his truck was destroyed early, and then he just brought out another yellow for no reason later in that race. But yeah, so a big wreck early in stage 2 of the Xfinity Series race. It looks like Josh Williams might have made it out of that. So, yeah, I mean, Sanchez gets the win, puts himself in a great position points wise early in the season. To now he doesn't have to worry about the playoff. He'll be in the playoff no matter what he does. He can go for stage wins and lots of stage points the rest of the year. But right now, I mean, great momentum for Nick Sanchez, for Rev Racing, for Spire in their first race as a multi-truck full-time organization in the Truck Series. And for Corey Heim, the guy who won the regular season title last year, he ends up getting a couple of stage points and finishes second in the race. So a good start to the season for him after what was a dubious end to his 2023 Truck Series season.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't actually watch this race because I was doing the iRacing Daytona 500, my first attempt. But I mean, yeah, I saw the kind of the replay of it after the ARCA race and saw the wreck that happened at the beginning there. And then I looked on Twitter and saw the ending with Taylor Gray going upside down on top of the pack there and getting wadded up, and Nick Sanchez just kind of escaping. Well, I mean, he was in front, but he just ended up being the guy, the last one standing there, and Raja came back and got a good finish as well. So you got two young stars that come out of this with really good results, and Nick Sanchez and Raja Karuth there. So Nick Sanchez, of course, first win. Had a lot of good runs last year, but finally, I think on a track that we probably wouldn't have expected him to win, but maybe we should. Gets the first win of his career here in the Truck Series, and Of course, Corey Heim, who we both picked to win the championship later on in the year, ends up getting third, and good result for him, a good result for points. So he ends up going and out and getting a good points finish there, and a lot of randomness behind it, of course. But you have guys that probably need better results, but also guys that with especially like Timmy Hill finishing in 8th place, for a small team like that, that's pretty good. Stephen Parsons also in the 75 that we normally see Parker Kligerman in, also getting a good finish. Spencer Foyd getting a top 5 there. So and Brett Holmes. So a lot of guys that maybe don't normally taste the front of the pack end up getting fairly solid finishes. Although of course, is because of the big one there happening at the end and the carnage that happened throughout that race. And of course, this race had 12 yellows so over half the race was under yellow, 12 cautions, 52 laps, and they went 1 lap over the scheduled distance there. So yeah, I mean, it's just another typical Truck Series result, of course, and especially after how they ended the year with the clown show that the Truck Series championship race turned out to be, and they followed it up with another clown show. So maybe, I don't know, maybe we just call it the William, Barnum, and Bailey Truck Series instead of the Camping World or Craftsman Truck Series. That might be a better name for it. But I told you before the show, and I'll go back to it, the quote from Matt Weaver with the Truck Series managing director, that he gave every driver a stern talking to prior to the weekend, and the response was a record number of cautions and carnage at Daytona. Can we change? I don't know. I want to. We're not stupid. Some of us. I don't know. That quote just sends me, because it sounds like a guy that has a gambling problem and is just hoping that they make it big on the next draw, and he's just continuing to throw his money to the house and everything, hoping that one day they'll have a good result, and it's just not going to happen. And it's just it goes back to the whole idea of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result every time. And it seems like these days the Truck Series, we just continue to wad them up and crash and have a clown show and everything every other race, and we always end up seeing them crash, and we expect them not to, and to be professionals and all that stuff. And clearly it's just not going to happen and all that. And people say that it's because there's not a veteran presence, because you don't have guys like Ron Hornaday, Todd Bodine, Mike Skinner, Terry Cook, people like that. And I mean, that's true. I mean, you don't really have much of a veteran presence. Of course, guys that are turning into the veterans like Matt Crafton, although I don't know if he's any better than what we have right now. I mean, Timmy Hill's probably one of the few guys that's actually a good character in this series that actually races clean for the most part, and he kind of has to. Johnny Sauter's not full-time anymore, but still could have. I guess he's that veteran presence now, of course, and now it's just kind of the next level up from guys that are in ARCA or made it up from late models and all that stuff. So, I mean, I think it's more than just guys that aren't, lack of veteran presence, because you still have guys that jump in from time to time. But, I think it's more of a culture problem. And, we saw it in the Daytona 500 at the end. They all kind of just go for broke at the end and don't really respect each other. You could have seen William or Alex Bowman kind of respect them at the end, or Corey LaJoie respect Alex, or not Alex, but Austin Cindric there coming to the white flag. And then it kind of devolves into the mess that we see on Friday and Saturday afternoons in the Truck Series. So it's a culture problem, and I mean, I certainly think even if they did have the veterans, which they are starting to, they don't really have the same level of respect as before, and everybody is just kind of how the series is structured. And I think it's just made kind of compounding by the fact that you mentioned the Truck Series package is very unstable. You saw the cars just bouncing around and kind of, not really sliding around, but just unstable even in a pack, and it's hard to really generate a run without being super aggressive. And then there's a fine line between being super aggressive and causing the crash to happen. So it just is what it is right now in the Truck Series, and you hope it can improve, but I don't know, that maybe what ends up being the death of the Truck Series is the fact that it's going to get too expensive to run this series without crashing so many cars. So we'll see what happens, but this is definitely not how they wanted to follow up last year's race for sure.
Yeah, it's not a way to go and build momentum in a positive manner. I would say I don't think 12 cautions is a great way of doing things. Going and having your series director asking you to not drive like jackasses and then proceeding to drive like jackasses. The point about the definition of insanity also speaks to it, because they continue to run this package year after year after year, and they destroy race trucks year after year after year. They're too aero dependent. Like, it seems to be the common theme. Aero dependence. You're trying to take away aero and downforce. You're trying to make it, but the problem is, oh man, that whatever that move was asking for trouble. Yeah, he moved up. It looked like, he cut a tire down. Justin Allgaier. I'm like, that is a really sudden move to the left or to the right, and he freaking turned his car off of Cole Custer, or else he was going to wreck the whole entire field. Garrett Smithley in the 6 car.
Damage there.
Yeah, that one could have been a major league disaster. They showed that camera. He cut that right front tire down. Yeah, he cut that right front tire down and turned off of Cole Custer, the defending series champion. Good save, though, by Allgaier there. I saw that camera. I'm like, oh shit. And then next thing you know, I see smoke. And he hit the door, at least, of the 00. For whatever reason, they don't have the logo, the Ford logo, on the front anymore. Or they don't, I forget who said it, that they should go and do a better job with the dark, like with the horse, with the Mustang itself, going and having it more prominent, since they don't want to put the Ford oval, or they don't want to have Ford writing in letters on the front end. It would be a better look on the front end, because even with the Camry, at least I think they have the Camry writing on the Toyota Camry, but whatever. Halfway through stage 2, just through getting close to halfway through this race and it being an official race, the defending series champion Cole Custer and Riley Herbst. Herbst, of course, ran the 500. Custer ran multiple Daytona 500s. So he's very experienced, the Stewart-Haas racing duo, amongst not that many Fords, but somehow got themselves up in front, and that's you would think the safest place to be, but maybe it isn't. Another race that took place on Friday that was a wreck fest and was a joke was the ARCA 200. Saw Gus Dean get the victory after triggering a massive wreck to start the race, with Tony Breidinger, who doesn't know how to drive, but she has a lot of Instagram followers, or she has a lot of social media followers. Chris Wrong, who's another teammate of that Venturini team, got involved in that wreck. There was other people that got wrecked during that deal, but that was the main ones. I think Andretti was a part of it too. Gustine, New Jersey's Thomas Annunziata, who was driving a mellow yellow themed car. Greg Van Alst, the defending race winner. Christian Rose, Tim Richmond, who started on the outside pole, finished fifth. Jason Kitzmiller, Gil Linster from Luxembourg. Alex Clubb in the 03. Amber Balkin, who was involved in multiple yellows and had a destroyed front end on her Toyota. Andy Jankowiak, who they quoted showing because of the loss of his father, I'm just going to go throttle, like I'm going to go full throttle, and it's either I'm going to come home with a trophy or I'm going to come home with a steering wheel, or some sort of paraphrase there. And he basically came home with a steering wheel because he had a wrecked race car. Jake Finch, who dominated the race in the Phoenix Construction Toyota, the son of James Finch. This race for many years was a Phoenix Racing benefit with the likes of Jeff Purvis behind the wheel. So now son Jake Finch, driving for Venturini, had a chance to win this race and got hung out to dry by Gustine and then got wrecked. Took the likes of Andres Perez, who's running for the championship, and others out there. You had so Finch, Andres Perez, Armani Williams, Steve Lewis Jr., LeVar Scott, Ryan Huff, Patrick Emmerling, Isaac Johnson, Tommy O'Leary IV, and Brian Doza rounded out the top 20 there. They were a lap down, all those cars, from 11th on through 20th and 21st, actually, and Michael Maples. I kept on thinking it was Marla Maples. I don't know why. Probably because of Orangeade and how bad he is. Tanner Gray in the 18 finished 24th. Marco Andretti got involved in multiple yellows. He ended up being 25th. Shane Van Gisbergen got involved in that early wreck 4 laps into the race. They repaired the car, and he was able to get back out there and run some more laps. I'm trying to see where he is, or up there still. Yeah, look at that. Both front corners are knocked off of the 2 car. The 20's got plenty of damage, cosmetic at least, but not anything that seems too bad. He probably looks like they taped his hood down. Parker Retzloff is on the front row with Cole Custer. The second row is Jeb Burton, who won at Talladega last year for Jordan Anderson Racing. So the Jordan Anderson duo is on the bottom, the first 2, and then Jeremy Clemens, former Daytona winner. And then up top, you have the 2 Stewart Haas Racing cars, and I think Chandler Smith, Sage Karam, who's, of course, ran many Indy 500s and has now turned his vision to NASCAR racing. So lap 49 on the board of 120, and good restart there by the Stewart Haas Racing duo of Custer and Herbst. Herbst Sent does 00 pretty good, but the 31 and the 27 might be attached, or at least were attached longer. Parker Retzloff takes the lead in the fresh from, is it the fresh from Florida? Or no, it's the United Reynolds 300, and then he goes and hung his teammate out there. Oh, and Parker Retzloff's going through the middle. So teammate play went to hell. Big block by Jeremy Clements. Almost got hooked by Ryan Sieg. Sieg gets on the inside. He's going to get swallowed up now. Fords on both sides, and oh, look at that. Austin Hill's back up front. Even with a wrecked front end, Right front corner is damaged, but Austin Hill's still up there. Sammy Smith, who went spinning, is up there. And the 18 car, Sheldon Creed. Oh, we could have some fun. Please let Sheldon Creed get behind the 21 car. That would be great. That would be great for the game. Come on, Sheldon. Just get yourself in position. Get behind that. Oh, somebody's wrecking. It's John Hunter Nemechek. Somebody hit him. Just get it over with, please. Oh, there it goes. Somebody went and just arc braked.
92.
Somebody arc braked right through Josh Bilicki and sent him through the grass, so he's done for the day. Ripped off the whole front end of his car. I don't know who arc braked right through him, but that made no attempt whatsoever to slow down. John Hunter's still rolling, so so he might have cut a tire down. It's entirely possible. And I think he's getting loose, he's getting wiggly there. Yeah, he's he cut a tire down. Yeah, he cut a left rear. Cut a left rear tire down. Daniel Dye almost got wrecked there. I think that's Dawson Cram,
former guest
of the GSP, ARCA braking through Josh Bilicki. But I might be. I feel like that's the Cram car, but for JD Motorsports, but have to get a positive identification. Jordan Anderson barely avoids the 20 car. His crew chief, of course, being his father-in-law, won America's crew chief, Larry McReynolds. That's a bumper bar there for Josh Bilicki. Dawson Cram. Yep. They identified it as Dawson Cram, who marker break through Josh Bilicki. Unfortunate there. But we'll see what happens there. We got 9 laps to go in stage 2. We're 9 laps to go till halfway in the race. The pole sitter for the ARCA 200 was Willie Mullins, and he had a fast race car, but it was very shifty, to say the least. Justin Bonsignor never really got a shot to get up front, driving to 30, the same car that Frankie Muniz drove last year. Mandy Chick, who's an engineering student, runs limited races in ARCA, got involved in a wreck there. So, that's the ARCA 200 for you. AMA Supercross, get in there. So an AMA Supercross action, last race. I have to go to, what do you call, super motocross? That's probably the better one to go to. Yeah. So Glendale, the results there at what is it, the Pink Taco Dome. I forget what they call that stadium. The winner in the 450 main event there, trying to actually open it, Ken Roxon gets the win over Jason Anderson and Jet Lawrence. Roxon gets the whole shot. Eli Tomac, Hunter Lawrence round out the top 5. Dylan Ferrandis, Cooper Webb, Malcolm Stewart, Chase Sexton, and Aaron Plessinger round out your top 10. The point standings in 450s, Jet Lawrence has a 6-point lead over Chase Sexton, 9 over Plessinger. 10 over Webb, 11 over Jason Anderson, so that's a top 5. Roxon moves up to 6th, minus 15. Eli Tomac, minus 17. And then there's a much bigger gap to the rest of the field there. Dylan Frandes, Hunter Lawrence, Justin Barsha rounding out the top 10. In the 250 West, results for Glendale, get into that. The results, waiting on it to load. RJ Hampshire gets the win over Levi Kitchen and Joe Shimoda, so 3 different manufacturers in the top 3. 4 in the top 4, counting Jordan Smith. Garrett Marchbanks rounds out the top 5. Mitchell Oldenburg, Julian Boomer, Phil Nicoletti, Robbie Wegman, and Hunter Yoder round out the top 10. Their next race will be in Arlington, Texas. Dallas at Jerry World. In 250 West, Levi Kitchen leads the points by 4 over Jordan Smith and 5 over RJ Hampshire. That's the main race there. For the championship, it'll be 250 East action coming up this weekend. They've had, I think, only one race so far this season. Faulkner, the winner over Anstey, Daxton Bennick, Cody Schock, and Pierce Brown, and Jalik Swoll for Triumph. Most of these people I've never even heard of, so we'll see what happens there. The 250 East, and then also the 450 situation there. In WRC, the Escapeco Lappi gets the win over Efren Evans and Adrian Formeau. So Hyundai over Toyota over Ford, and Thierry Neuville 4th. Oliver Solberg gets the victory in Rally 2. And yeah, so that's there's a Toyota for Bertelli, finished 10th, and it was a Rally 1 car. The rest of them had different issues there. To go back to the results, so the points standings, they show the full race results, but I'm trying to find the point standings in series. Yeah, no, here, yeah, it's 24. There we go, Rally Sweden, WRC.com. I guess my computer's just loading slow today. Results, the championship standings, heading to the next round of the championship. Neuville leads Efren Evans by 3 points. Adrian Formeau is in 3rd. Ogier, who ran at Monte Carlo 4th, Otanak, is in 5th. Escapeco Lappi is, with his victory, moved up to 6th. Didn't score points at Monte Carlo, so big deal for him to get some major points. Takamoto Katsuda had been in position early in the rally to possibly have a result, but it didn't come off for him. Cali Rovampera, defending world champion, 2-time defending world champion, running limited races this year, ended up finishing 45th. In the rally, Tanek was 46th. So that's that. Oliver Solberg finished 5th and moved up to 9th in points. And Sami Pajari, with his 6 points, is tied with Andreas Mikkelsen for 10th in the championship right now. Let's move over to Extreme E at Saudi. For first race of their season. Big gaps in the schedule, of course. Race results: Johan Kristofferson and Michaela Allen Kotulinski, they get the victory in race 1 over the Veloce team of Kevin Hansen, Molly Taylor, and the McLaren duo of Matthias Ekstrom and Christina Gutierrez. And 4th place was Layla Sands, Fraser McConnell for Aconia Sainz. The Andretti team finished 5th. Sun Mini Meal team 6th. The Legacy Motor Club with Pastrana and Gray Ledbetter. And then the Jensen Button team, Dania Akila and Andreas Backer, round out the field. In race 2, looks like there's a little bit of precip. I don't know if it's just the dirty camera or if there is actual precipitation going on there. Definitely foggy, a little bit of fog. In race in the grand final, the winners were Layla Sands and Fraser McConnell over the Andretti duo of Munnings and Hansen, the Veloce team of Kevin Hansen and Molly Taylor, and then the Rosberg team in 4th. So the point standings see the Rosberg team lead by 2 over the Sainz team, and Veloce 3rd, Andretti 4th, McLaren 5th. Going to the next stop, which won't be as it stands. The next actual scheduled stop is in September, so plenty of time between now and then. If they're supposed to have a round in July, then they're going to have 2 rounds back to back in September and then November to end the season. Interesting scheduling there. Restart with 4 laps to go in stage 2. Jeb Burton gets a push from Ryan Sieg. Too much of a push because now the 21's right beside him.
Too far out there.
And then now the 18 car is side by side in a 3 wide with his old buddy, his teammate, former teammate in Austin Hill and Sheldon Creed. The 27 now on the outside of a 3 wide.
3 to go, coming to 3 to go in stage 2.
Austin Hill moving up. There's Sammy Smith in the 8, former driver of the 18 car there. In the testing, Piero Ferrari hinted to Quartararo about Hamilton. Oh, so he had let Quartararo know about, that's a German like feed. I don't know what that means. So double file behind Austin Hill. Nobody really trying to make a move as of yet. There are a couple cars 3 wide. That's AJ Allmendinger and Daniel Dye and the 51. 2 laps to go. The Qatar test, Pecco Bagnaia topped the opening day of testing over Jorge Martin. So I'm trying to look for the times. They don't have them. Results, maybe they'll have them. Yeah. So no, that's not. They don't have it. Paco Bagnaia over Jorge Martin and venture on the circuit and hour 2 come the end of it. So come into the white. Yeah. So white flag. Now action starting to pick up.
Reed going to the outside there with a little push.
With 2 Fords behind him. Ryan Sieg getting moved by Riley Herbst a little bit. They're starting to move around a lot. That they're connected there for a minute and pushed Austin Hill back out there. Moving forward there, on the outside is Allgaier, but there's a blocked by Austin Hill, and helps Sammy Smith get second place there. Austin Hill gets the stage win. Sammy Smith, Sheldon Creed, Cole Custer, Ryan Sieg, Ryan Truex, Herbst, Allgaier, Allmendinger, and Bruckshot Jones. Bagnaia taking over the top spot. That would not be beaten there. Martin 0.22 seconds. Well, it's just Spargaro in third, Brad Binder fourth, Fabio Di Gianantonio fifth, Maverick Vinales sixth, Alex Marquez, Enea Bastianini, Johan Zarco, and Fabio Quartararo. Joanne Mir leading factory Honda in 13th. Pedro Acosta 15th. I'm trying to see. Fabio Quartararo ran out top 10. Alex Rins, Augusto Fernandez. Franco Morbidelli continues to sit on the sideline. Crash in training prior. Okay. So there's that. In MotoGP. And Bathurst 12-hour. In sports cars, again. It was a compelling event. Porsche ended up with the victory over Mercedes. Matt Campbell and Jules Gounon battled each other there. So 4th straight win. Oh, Jules Gounon was going for 4 consecutive victories there. So team's car, Gounon, Sun Energy won. Team owner Kenny Habel devised a strategy to enter the team's car as an all-pro entry. Top 2. Okay. I'm trying to. They don't have the results there. Okay. Results. They're showing practice Sunday. The Bathurst 12-hour. The Manthey EMA team of Lawrence Vantor, Guvan, and Matt Campbell gets the victory by 2.7 seconds over the Sun Energy 1 team of Jules Gounon, Lucas Stoltz, and Kenny Habel, who owns a real estate on the over in by the not the cut. What am I cutting? The chicane down the Conrad Strait They have the big building there on the Conrad Strait, and Kenny Habel supposedly owns an apartment there. So, this is going to be uncomfortable for what's his name, Andy Petrie, showing that that whole thing. Of course, you knew he was going to block him, but I was kind of hoping Sheldon Creed was able to get up there and move him. The 22 Audi of Talbot, Christopher Haase, and Kevin Vanderlinde was third. There was a Porsche number 13 fourth. The fifth place finisher was a BMW. Valentino Rossi, Maxime Martin, and Rafael Marciello in number 46 for Team WRT. National Storage Racing, the 888 Racing Team, Brock Feeney, Will Brown, and Mikhail Grenier. The 222 Mercedes, Cameron Waters, Craig Lowndes, and Thomas Randall was 7th. And then the Group M Mercedes, number 130, Mauro Engel, Felipe Fraga, David Reynolds. The other Manthey Porsche, Shahin, King, and Piccarello. And then the Heart of Racing, 27 Mercedes, Pro-Am, team of Riberas, Gunn, and Ian James, rounding out the top 10. The 888 JMR 88 Mercedes Pro-Am of Ibrahim, Jordan Love, and Jamie Whincup, the team owner. Finished just outside the top 10 there. Supercars will start their 2024 campaign this weekend at Bathurst with the Bathurst 500. The Bathurst Superfest, as they're calling it, for a week within the Bathurst. Yeah, so that's part of the Bathurst Superfest, the Bathurst 12-hour taking place. Erebus teases new 20. Yeah, not Coca-Cola this year. Todd Hazelwood and Jack LeBrock, which will debut as Thrifty Bathurst, so it'll be. It looks like Bic, whatever, will be prominent on the car, so it'll be yellow, black, and red majority. The team will enter for a new look. Teaser, white, yellow, and red, black, and imaging the lights of Bic, as well as online retail and grays. Day before the action, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. Bathurst Superfest, entry, Thrifty Bathurst 500. The overview, trying to look for the entry list. They don't have any, of course. Bathurst 500, so that's 2024, so you have the Erebus team, Jack LeBrock and Todd Hazelwood. Then you have the Red Bull team of Brock Feeney and Will Brown. They'll be 87 and 88. Then the Andre Heimgardner and Bryce Fullwood. Then the Monster Castrol Racing duo of Cam Waters and Thomas Randall. Then the Shell V-Power Racing duo of Anton De Pasquale and Will Davison. Chaz Mostert and Ryan Wood, or Chaz Mostert for Mobile One and Optus. Yeah, so yeah, that's the walk-in Chandra. Yeah, Chaz Mostert, Ryan Wood, teammates there. Then Matthew Payne and Richie Stanaway for Penrite Racing. And then Mark Winterbottom and David Reynolds, teammates at Team 18. James Golding, Tim Slade, Cameron Hill, whoever he is. Nick Percat, Macaulay Jones, Jackson Evans, James Courtney, and Aaron Love, the 24 full-time drivers in this year's Supercars Championship. Of course, no SVG, no Brody Kostecki, so it's a wide open field here. A lot of guys on this grid are much younger drivers, not a lot of championship experience. I mean, James Courtney has that. I mean, Mark Winterbottom's a former champion. Mostert has been there before. Will Davison probably would say that Brock Feeney would be an early favorite for the championship, though, for the talent that he's shown and driving for the Triple Eight racing team. But we'll see what happens with that. And Le Mans entry list. Oh, he blew through his pit box. That's good. So Le Mans entry list in full. Alex Palou is going to make his debut in this race in the 24 Hours of Le Mans. 23 hypercars. 2 from Cadillac, the 2 from Ganassi Cadillac, that is. And then the Action Express Racing number 311. Then you'll have Porsche, Penske Motorsports will have 3 Porsches, so the 2 Cadillacs from Ganassi will be number 2 and 3. The Porsches from Penske will be 4, 5, and 6. The Toyotas, as always, will be number 7 and 8. The Asada Fraschini number 11, which I don't even know who those guys are. The Hertz Team Yoda Sport, one of 2 cars that they'll have there, the number 12 and the 38. The BMW Team WRT will be numbers 15 and 20. The Iron Lynx Lamborghini team will be numbers 19 and 63. Alpine will have numbers 35 and 36. Ferraris, the defending race winners, with Perguidi, Collado, and Antonio Giovinazzi, number 51, 50, and 51. AF Corsa will be in a 3rd Ferrari, number 83. Peugeot will have number 93 and 94, as they've had last few years, and Proton Competition with the Porsche number 99. They'll also have number 9 in the LMP2 category. Vector Sport and AO by TF Racing, which will be a Pro-Am, the number 23 United Autosport car. With Ben Keating will be a Pro-Am car. DKR Engineering, CrowdStrike by APR with George Kurtz. And Colin Brown will be a Pro-Am as well. Cool Racing and AF Corsa number 83 with Ben Barnicoat and Nick Verone. So that'll be 23 and 16, so 39 prototypes, and then 23 GT3 cars. So 39, 59, so 62 entries there. And LMGT3, you have WRT, Team WRT, BMW, Harder Racing, Aston Martin, Proton, Ford. Team WRT, of course, number 46 as Valentino Rossi, who'll make his Le Mans debut driving a car. Of course, he's raced at Le Mans on the short circuit on motorcycles. AF Corsa with 2 Ferraris, United Autosport with a McLaren, Iron Lynx, Lamborghini. Inception Racing coming from IMSA, they'll be racing in at Le Mans for the first time. Proton Competition, second Ford Mustang, number 77, so they'll have numbers 44 and 77. ASP Lexus, one of two cars, they'll have 78 and 87. TF Sport Corvette, Iron Dames, the ladies, and the Lamborghini. GR Racing Ferrari Proton Competition, a third Mustang there with an all European lineup there. Manti, number 91 Porsche, and 92. Then United Autosports with a second McLaren, Spirit of Race Ferrari, and D Station Racing, Aston Martin. And reserves, there's one hypercar for Proton as a reserve. Then there's 3 LMP2 cars, and then 3 GT3s, 2 Ferraris, and 1 Aston Martin. So we'll see if any of those cars end up being in the field. But a pretty solid lineup, to say the least. All the regulars that'll be in the World Endurance Championship, and then solid amount of one-offs. All the LMP2 cars, of course, are going to be one-offs at Le Mans because they're not racing full-time in the World Endurance Championship anymore. Hence why a lot of those teams have moved over to the IMSA series this year. Next thing we'll get into is Formula One testing. So, I mean, in terms of what to look at, I think behind Red Bull, which we know is going to be leading, what will Mercedes bring to the table with their new design? James Allison in his first design for Mercedes. What will Ferrari bring to the table? McLaren, those 3 teams, which are the 3 teams that were behind, the closest teams behind Fish Lips and Red Bull. Ford Performance has come out and put their hat into the situation with Karen Horner, and they're watching it closely to see how it's handled. And if the allegations are true, which I wouldn't put it past him considering the kind of guy he is, that they have to make a decision. They have to really make a prompt decision about letting him go, since Ford is putting so much money into the effort that Red Bull Powertrains has with their new powertrain deal there. We'll see how that all works out. And then after, looking at those 3 teams that were behind Fish Lips, you have to also look at that midfield battle. Williams and Alpine, and I guess it is Williams and Alpine, to go and bring up the teams again. Yeah. And Red Bull Camp Shakedown Zone, Saudi Arabian racer Rima Jafali as wild card. Drivers, yeah. So you have those teams, and you look at the Toro Rosso team. What was the Toro Rosso team? Williams, Aston Martin. I forgot about Aston Martin. Alpine. Those were up there. All those cars were up there at times. Red Bull is going to be essentially the Cash App, Visa, blah blah blah, Toro Rosso car. They're going to be copy of last year's Red Bull, so it should be fast. Looking at Sauber and at Haas, what are they going to bring to the table this year? They were at the back a good amount of the season. Williams at times was at the back, but then was showing the ability to score points. Aston Martin early in the season was very fast, and by the end of the season they were struggling. So that's something that we have to look at. Do you have anything else, Josh? I mean, in regards to what we should look at from the testing?
No, I mean, it's going to be interesting as, I guess with Mercedes, with what their car is, how much of an improvement it's going to be over the last couple of years. And, if it's going to be something that can at least send off Lewis somewhat honorably, I guess, in his final year with Mercedes. So we'll have to see. But yeah, the Red Bull stuff, yeah, that's going to be something to look at as the weeks go by, and you wonder how long if that snowballs into where, like, on the eve of the F1 season, they have to let him go or something. So it could potentially progress into a situation like that.
Yeah, and then even if they were to let Karen Horner go, I don't think it's really going to affect anything because One-Eyed Marco has been a part of that whole deal for as long as he has. So I don't think there would be a whole lot of performance drop off in that sense. I think there would be some leadership, at least in terms of the voice in front of the mics on a weekly basis might change a little bit, but that's something that we're going to have to look at. If he definitely did what he did, if that is the case, then you really have to wonder how they can keep him around. And I think another thing that we can start looking at least to a lesser extent, is silly season. A lot of moves have been made, but we don't know what's going to happen with Carlos Sainz, and I think that's the biggest piece of news that's left. What is Carlos Sainz going to do, or where is he going to go? That's a big one. McLaren has their whole team situated. Red Bull, the second seat, what's going to happen with that? Whoever's behind BJ McLeod just got blocked in. Ferrari has their lineup set. The Toro Rosso team, they're likely to replace at least one driver there somehow, some way, maybe both. Williams, what can Logan Sargent do in his second year? Can he make the progress necessary to maintain his ride in Formula One? Who will Mercedes hire as their second driver behind Russell? What is Haas going to do with a new team principal, or they're going to keep their veteran lineup, or if they're going to go a different way? Then Aston Martin, as long as I guess they're going to keep it going the way they're going, you wonder if Fred Alonso calls Toto Wolff and tries to get in at Mercedes, or if something else comes along there. Something to look at for sure there. So that's Formula One testing. We'll definitely give a recap of that next week on the GSP for sure. 41 to go in the Xfinity race. Last pit stops taking place for fuel. No under the green, so fuel only. It looks like, so the net leader was the 9 car. They're starting to fan out a little bit, which is going to help that lead pack, which is all mostly Fords. 2 of the Toyotas, so that's Sheldon Creed and Ryan Truex stayed out for some reason. The other two Gibbs Toyotas of Chandler Smith and John Hunter came in. Sheldon Creed in the 98 both came in. Or, I mean, not Sheldon Creed. I mean, Cole Custer and Riley Herbst came in. So there's the pack. Buckshot Jones leads that pack. AJ Allmendinger on the inside, getting a push from, getting a good push from Jeb Burton there. So they're coming out. They're the effective race leaders, but this pack is coming at a very high rate, and they're going to get swallowed up here shortly. The 42 of Leland Honeyman, he's actually running in this pack. So another furniture mover. The two Toyotas there that didn't come in, that's interesting. They did not, because they split into two and they were broken up. They have allowed the two Stewart Haas Fords to take the lead back, and the two Gibbs Toyotas that pitted first, they're going to move up into the line, and Sheldon Creed's trying to move, but he can't. Jeb Burton. Oh God.
Oh, you want to know something that I saw earlier? I saw this on Reddit like earlier, but because Natalie Decker is in the lead right now, right? She's leading.
Yeah.
The odds for her winning this race are so bad. It's worse than any of the drivers that aren't even in the race right now. And right now, I don't know right now, but what it is, but like at least earlier today, the odds. This was 2 hours ago. Her odds were plus 50,000 to win.
So 500 to 1 odds of winning this race when there's only 38 drivers in this race, and she had 500 to 1 odds. That tells you how pathetic she is. But hey, she's got a following, and she bangs and she takes cock from an actual race car driver, Derek Lemke. So Toyota's leading up there in the top. Ryan Truex trying to win at Daytona, do the same thing his brother has done in the Xfinity Series before. Big block by Riley Herbst, and he's gonna get swallowed up. 3 wide. The Fords, the two Fords.
No, he's not gonna get swallowed up. He's gonna form there 3 wide there, the two Fords, and they split
and
the
AJ
Toyotas.
Allmendinger. So the Gibbs guys got split up on 2 lines. So Ryan Truex and John Hunter are high, and now Buckshot Jones squeezes right in front of Ryan Truex. 36 laps to go. Chandler Smith, the effective leader of the race now, over Riley Herbst. Jeb Burton racing a double file. Where are we at? Ryan Sieg, Cole Custer. So the Fords, 3 Fords are up there. You have AJ Allmendinger, who's got plenty of experience and raced in the 500 earlier this evening. Michael Waltrip's probably jumping up and down like a fruit at the thought of Natalie Decker leading this race. It's Anthony Alfredo's a lap down, I guess.
And Ryan Ellis.
Ryan Ellis and Garrett Smithley, they're in the top 3. And then this is for the race for, right now it's the race for 4th place, but it's the for the lead
What if they wipe themselves out and
that would be
and
hilarious.
she still ends up in the lead and
And then
nets.
whoever's the person that bet 500 to 1 on her, that would be something. That would break the internet, that's for sure. It would also probably make Mario Gosling die because he wouldn't believe it. The what is that? That's I just think I just saw Jordan Anderson there on the inside in that pack. And they're starting to wad up a little bit. The inside lines formed with the two Stewart-Haas Fords. The Young's Motorsports car, Leland Honeyman, they have a habit of winning at these races. They've done it multiple times at Talladega in a truck. Boyd and Tate Fogelman.
And Ryan Ellis just took the lead there. Natalie had to fall back.
Yeah, that was coming. I think Alfredo assisted in that one. Ryan Ellis running full time in the Xfinity Series this year for what's that called? What the why am I forgetting what their team is called now? It's the team that has Caesar Baccarella and Tommy Joe Martins, but they're connected there. 98 and 81, so Herbst and Chandler Smith. And third place is Cole Custer, gets on the inside of the 81, so breaks them up. And then the 39 now gets underneath. So now 3 Fords. But
it's just blocked up there to cover.
And so did Cole Custer. So the Stewart-Haas teammates are working very well together, unlike what they were doing in the Cup Series. And then right in the front of that middle line is Ryan Sieg, and who's pushing him but inbred Austin Hill. And then you got Jeb Burton trying to win at Daytona and lock himself into the playoffs to start the season. And of course, Ryan Sieg has come close to winning races. If he wins this race, be a huge celebration in Georgia. It'll be a lot of cousin fucking too. Wow, that 00's loose. I don't know if that's a tire or if that's just coming off because of Chandler Smith being underneath him. Big move there by Ryan Sieg.
And now you have all 3 Fords lined up.
So yeah, all 3 of the Fords are up there, and then you have the Toyota and you have Chevrolet. AJ Allmendinger up there. And then in the middle line, you have 21, the 8, 26, and the 20. Big pass by Riley Herbst. Then the inside line to 27, 7, 9, 31. The 21 moved over and honked Sammy Smith out. And he makes the move inside to the outside and probably was ill-advised on his part. But the 98 gets the lead back. So now they're starting to really jockey for positions. 30 laps to go, 29 to go. And Herbst gets hung right back out by Hill. It's 3 wide between Sieg, Hill, Herbst. Herbst has the help from Custer. The 8 car is well off of the 21. The 21 moves down low. They're moving around a bit. Jeb Burton's behind the 39. So side by side between the 98 and the 21. 39 in a 3 wide with the 8 and the 81. So Yeah, they're running their
That was C got sideways there.
yeah, I missed the sideways part, but it looked close. It would be good if he sucks around the 21. It'll take out most of the field, but still, it would be kind of funny. And yeah, they're racing 3 wide here. Riley Herbst in the lead. He made a lot of progress there at the end of the year, won his first career race, looked like a totally different guy. His whole career trajectory changed in a matter of a few months there in the playoffs. You can go out there and win Daytona to be something. That 21 car keeps on dragging the skirts and splitter and
they're
stuff.
bottoming out.
Yeah, they've been riding lower than anybody, I think, the whole entire day. And then they went and DQ'd the 66 car. I find that to be interesting. 27 ago, that group of the kind of back marker Chevy teams haven't pitted yet. Alpha Prime, there you go. I remembered it now. You have an Alpha Prime car, you have JD Motorsports, and you have DGM up there. Yeah, that's a problem. Letting that 21 car get up front really is. Hey, look, SVG's in 13th with a destroyed front end. Actually close to that lead pack, or getting close to the top 10, actually. The inside line is thinning out, so they're all kind of forming on the high line.
Yeah, they got to ride it out here for a little bit and let these, back markers up front go and pit, because they'll take themselves out otherwise.
Yeah, it's a good call on that. Yeah, so let's while we have a moment and they've kind of thinned out and probably are taking it easy, we could preview Atlanta for all 3 major NASCAR series. They go to the commercial here. Entry list for the Freight 208. They have 33 trucks, so they don't even have a full field, which is pretty embarrassing. Right now, so 33 trucks, everybody would make the show. Colby Howard in the 1 truck for Tricon. Mason Massey in the 02 for Youngs. I think he's running full time for them. Nick Sanchez, Dean Thompson. The 7 doesn't have anybody listed for Spire. Grant Enfinger and the 9. As usual. Oh, there goes Jeb Burton spinning.
Is that a caution? Yes.
Yeah, and he's spinning through the grass. Will he get stuck?
Yeah, probably.
The answer is yes. Yes. So that's he's trying. He is trying to get through there. He's gonna burn the freaking gear out of it to get through, but he got there.
Oh.
Yeah, so he will. There are cars rolling by him. I don't know if.
And I think he flat spotted. Yeah.
Oh, maybe. So he went a lap down. That's what that was. He went a lap down with the cars that were trying to run all the way or as far as they could with the gas. 27 was catching up to the 21. Was it SVG?
Yeah,
it was.
Wow.
That is,
That's a rookie mistake.
SVG lost his front end there. Of course, his front end is kind of jacked as it is. Only obviously his first real race on a super speedway, and he's been learning all day. Unfortunate for Jeb Burton, but he's made that kind of mistake plenty of times before. He's still got a functional race car. He still can make a play for this. I don't think this will be the last yellow by any means. So, yeah, Corey Heim, Jake Garcia had a quiet night at Daytona. Did he make this? Did he make the show last? He had to have because they have points. Tanner Gray, Taylor Gray, Ankromekis, McGee in the 22 for Reum. They don't have anybody listed in the second Reum truck. Ty Dillon had a very short night at Daytona. Brett Holmes, Lawless Allen, Lane Riggs, who got wrecked out early. Bailey Curry, Matt Mills, the Nice Motorsports trucks. Daniel Dye, then Caden Honeycutt driving the 45. Thad Moffitt, who got destroyed early in the race at Daytona. Stuart Friesen, Timmy Hill, Connor Jones, Raja Carew, Spencer Boyd, Chase Purdy, Matt Kraft, and Jack Wood in another McAnally truck. So 4 McAnally trucks out there. And then Ty Majeski and Ben Rhodes. So going back to the picks last week, you ended up picking first because you had the algorithm for the Truck Series. So I'll go first for the Truck Series race. And I'm going to go with Corey Heim. Not because it's just a chalk pick or any kind of other thing. I think Corey Heim, what is it, the last 2 years ago, won this race with help from Chandler Smith. He was a part-time driver and Chandler's full-time driver or something like that. I'm not sure who won this race last year. I don't remember offhand. The truck, yeah, so I don't remember who won the race last year. I can look right now. Victoria, there was the freight auction. Christian Eckes ended up winning the race over Nick Sanchez, John Hunter, Bailey Curry, Ben Rhodes, D. Burrito, Purdy Hill, Kraft, and Jack Wood. Okay. Yeah, so a couple of years ago, it was Corey Heim who won this race. So I'm not, I wouldn't be surprised that if he were to go out there and get that victory on Saturday, it would be a way for him to get a early momentum. Guy was a second place finish out there, get the victory, lock himself into the playoffs. That would be something. I think a person to look at that would be a wild card in this race, and I have to take it just strictly based on last week is Brett Holmes. Brett Holmes had a rough year last year in the Truck Series in general, and he is someone that knows how to drive on these super speedway races. So I mean, I think and he had a good truck to do at Daytona, so why wouldn't he go and have a chance at Atlanta? But we'll see. Corey Heim as a winner, and then Brett Holmes as a wild card. Josh, what are your picks? And also the algorithm selection for this weekend's truck race?
I will pick Ben Rhodes to win this weekend in the number 99. And he's been a pretty good super speedway racer here, so he had a good run here, so that's who I'll pick for the win. Wild card, I'll go Lane Riggs, the wild card. Really didn't have much of a chance here at, last Saturday or Friday night in the Truck Series at Daytona. So let's see if he can come back and make a proper rookie debut in the Truck Series this week as a driver. So yeah, that's who I have for my two picks. And then the wild card, or not wild card, but the algorithm picks the 66 of Connor Jones and Thor Sport. So two Thor Sport picks here on the show, but one of them, of course, not the full-time entry there. So that would be a very interesting pick.
Yeah, if Connor Jones got the help or had the vehicle to do it, that would be something for him to go out there and get a first career Truck Series win. Prospect for Thor Sport Racing, somebody they have a lot of invested in, so that would be something. But I think a couple of solid main picks there, though, in Heim and Rhodes, the defending series champion. Riggs I picked as a wild card last week. Brett Holmes had a great run at Daytona, so we'll see how that all works out. At Atlanta Xfinity Series. So Josh, you'll get to go and pick first on the Xfinity side. They're showing highlights from last year's race, if you want to call them highlights. They'll be racing next Saturday, or the Saturday afternoon. 20 laps to go in this race, though. The Raptor King of Tough 250 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. 39 cars for 38 spots. Trying to see here. Only things that are different. I mean, everybody else is the same from this week. So
you
far,
see the entry list.
They have it on JSki. If you go on the Xfinity schedule and you go and click on Atlanta,
okay,
itself, they have it there. The first difference will be Sage Karam isn't racing at Atlanta. Jeffrey Earnhardt will be in the 26 for Sam Hunt. Kyle Sieg will attempt to make his first race of 2024. Perkins stays in the 31. Joey Gase will be in his own 35. CJ McLaughlin, will be in the 38. Well, he is in the 38 today. Brennan Poole in the 44, he's there. The 53 for Joey Gase is entered, but may end up not running. BJ McLeod stays in his car, at least for now. Nick Leitz will be in the 92 for DGM. And JJ Yaley will be in a number 14 for SS Greenlight Racing. They've been the 08 for a long time, so now they're changing numbers to changing to the 14. So that'll be something there. So what say you, Josh, in regards to the picks for Atlanta and the Xfinity Series?
Go chalk, go with Austin Hill. He's won here in the past, so I can see him winning again easily. There, wild card. We'll go with damn, it's hard. go with Anthony Alfredo, fast pasta. We'll go with him. And
yeah, that's not a bad pick the way he's been running today. In the Xfinity Series, he's got a destroyed race car, but he's still, racing. So there's that. For me, I'm gonna go with. I don't think I ever thought I'd say this ever, but I'm gonna go with Riley Herbst. He's been pretty sporty here tonight, and I think they have a better chance at Atlanta with these cars because of how tight the track is and more handling than even what they do today. And they might go out there and win today as well, but that's to be determined. In terms of a wild card pick, I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with. Let's see. I'll go with the. Oh, I was about to go the one way, but I mean, is it really? I mean, I guess it's a borderline call saying it is a wild card pick since he's driving for a big time organization, but I'm gonna go and say Josh Williams. Josh Williams at the race that he parked it last year, literally, and became a social media icon and sat in the NASCAR hauler for the rest of the race and got more interviews for doing what he did there than he did in his whole entire career, even after winning ARCA races. So Leland Honeyman, who I think I was going to pick there as my wild card, gets wrecked. I'm going to pick Josh Williams. SVG wrecked again, so now I think he's finally done. And then the 27 gets taken out again. The 6 in his second caution of the day. The 51. I was thinking Jeremy Clements. Well, to be fair, I would have. Oh, that's what happened. Okay. Parker Retzloff got into the 51, who got into the 42. The 21 was back there? Is that right?
he pitted.
Oh,
The
man.
caution.
And he got it. And he almost got taken out there. The 6 was collateral damage, but checking up. The 97 was on the brakes. The 21 just spun out for the sake of spinning out. Or the 27, I mean. Oh, yeah, no. The 51, I guess, cleared himself. So, yeah. Back marker-ish wreck. All right, so, yeah, I'm picking Josh Williams there. I'll go and put that in there as my wild card pick. All right, so what does the algorithm say?
Oh, hold on to your butts here, but it says that SVG is gonna win.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a wild one. It's interesting because I was plugging in the entries for this week, and I was just thinking, what if it just like when I finish, it just says like SVG, and I guess I thought that one into existence. So
A few weeks ahead of Coda, where I would assume the two favorites would be Shane Van Gisbergen and his teammate AJ Allmendinger. The Tate Fogelman algorithm comes through with SVG, who has been involved in 3 accidents today. 2 of his, not of his doing, but one of his. with a destroyed race car, at least right now, on Saturday would take the experience that he's gained through this god-awful weekend for him. And he'll go out and win at Atlanta, which, let's be fair to SVG. It's not about SVG himself. It's obvious. Most talented race car drivers in the world. But just the learning curve in terms of, he ARCA braked into the 27. He got into a 20.
He got the NASCAR experience in 1 week or in one race because he accidentally got into the 27 that caused the previous caution, and then he ran into him again, ARCA braking him. So that's the NASCAR experience right there.
Yeah, that's man. He really learned about the whole ARCA experience too, even though he got destroyed 4 laps into the race. All right, so that's something we're gonna have to look at for sure. SVG and going, and if he somehow or another does that, that would be something. Not improbable by any means based on talent, but very unlikely based on what has gone on so far this weekend for him. Josh, you get first dibs on the Cup Series and Better Health 400. Who do you see?
I mentioned it at the top of the show, but I'm going to go with William Byron going 2 for 2 to start the year off, which he's been successful at this track. Won the first race that they did with this setup, this track reconfiguration, and then won, of course, last summer. Coming to the rain. So, very good. Obviously, for whatever reason at this track. So, I'll pick him as my main pick. Wild card pick. I might have to bring that back here because I closed that page. Wild card. We'll go with Corey LaJoie. That will save that right there.
Dang it!
Yeah.
I was wanting to pick Corey LaJoie. He was trying to fuel his car up with Chili's margaritas, and it worked out about as well as his last move did there at the end of the race. But that was one. He's been very, very good at Atlanta ever since this reconfiguration. So I think you have a pretty good chance there with your picks. For me, I'll go YRB, the defending series champion, Ryan Blaney. He has a habit of putting himself in position in these type of races to win, and it would be good for him to have a recovery run after getting destroyed at Daytona while trying to win the Daytona 500. 37 cars for 36 spots, for 40 spots, so nobody will go home. Chastain will have Moose Fraternity, Austin Cindric with Menards, Brestry for Bald Spot, Josh Berry will have Harrison's, Brad Keselowski with King's Hawaiian, Corey LaJoie with Celsius, Kyle Busch with Cheddar's, Scratch Kitchen, Chase Elliott with Hooters, Gagson, same sponsorship. Ryan Blaney will have Body Armor, Zero Sugar. Chase Briscoe will have High Point on his car. Kaz Gralla will be back in the 15 this week after he was there in the Clash. Josh Williams will be attempting to make his first race. He'll make his first Cup race for Colleague with the 16. Bill Submarines for Christopher Buescher. DeWalt only on the 20 for Christopher Bell. Harrison Burton, same deal. Penzel has a money line for Bubba Wallace. Raptor High Heat for William Byron. No sponsors listed for Hemrick or Todd Gilliland. Benabone for Michael McDowell. Ryan Preseam. John Hunter Nemechek with Family Dollar. He had Dollar Tree on the car this week. Advent Health stays on the 43 for Eric Jones. Xfinity Mobile for Tyler Reddick. Blue Buffalo will be on A. Richards' car. Justin Haley, no sponsor listed. Monster Energy for Keebler. City of Refuge, whatever that is, for Zane Smith. No sponsors listed for Hocevar. BJ McLeod, who's the only open car. And Daniel Suarez will continue with Freeway Insurance. So my pick for wild card result, I'm gonna say Justin Haley as my wild card. He had a good car during the day in the 500. Don't think it would be out of the realm for him to go up there with that car. It seems like they've had pace so far in the 2 race weekends, a lot more pace than you would consider for a Rick Ware racing car. So why not? Atlanta's an opportunity race. After that, it's going to be the regular schedule. So why not put yourself in an opportunity to possibly go out there and get the victory there. All right, so let's move forward to the sim segment, Josh.
We did.
Oh, didn't do the algorithm. My fault.
Yep. No, you're good. But the algorithm says Bubba Wallace goes out and wins the Atlanta race, which, I mean, it's credible because he's come close before, so we'll see.
So Darrell Wallace Jr. would be the winner based on the algorithm. And I did ask, going and looking back, I did ask both Sarah and Phil to be on after Atlanta, before Atlanta. That was I had it something with Atlanta. So that means if that were to happen, we'd have 2 very happy, all of us in a way are Darrell Wallace Jr. fans. So we'd have a very happy show if that were to take place. I do have his bestie winning the race though, and Ryan Blaney. But then there's also the whole family connection since William Byron. They put the lights back on the pace car. I don't know if that's because of precipitation or because of debris. I don't know. I don't have the. But yeah, so we'll say Darrell Walsh Jr., the algorithm pick for Atlanta, McDonald's, one of their big spots, Coca-Cola. Of course, they're home, so it would be something. Oh, yeah, there you go. Oh, lovely. Bastard goes and does that and wins. Convenient. Because Gumby pushed him there. And then, and LaJoy missed the block and then went and sent the 24 Urswin.
Yeah, LaJoy should have taken that, honestly. That was about the right time.
Yeah, he's going to probably have to sit there and explain why he didn't take that run.
He would have had honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, because that would have been the run. He could have gotten the lead. It's either that or you're in the woods, but at least you'd have tried. How the hell does that come out? They had 2-3 laps to clean that up. So who the hell's dropping debris on the racetrack? And if then why aren't they parking that freaking car? So they've torn down the 24 car and then the 48. And of course that 24 car tomorrow will go into Daytona, USA once they put a new motor in it, I guess, or whatever. I think that it looks like they took the motor out of it, but that car will go to Daytona, USA. tomorrow and stay there for a year as the winner of the Daytona 500. So they won't be able to use that car at Atlanta. But so we did the algorithm. So Josh, let us know how your exploits were in the iRacing Daytona 500.
Yeah, of course. I mean, first of all, Friday night did the open setup Daytona 500, 9 p.m. While the truck race was going on. So got some updates from the truck race. Some people, I guess, had it on while they were playing the game, but I actually started. So I qualified fourth in that one, which it really doesn't matter, but it's good to be up to start up front and have that advantage. But then I made the mistake of forgetting to change over from the qualifying setup to the race setup. And then so last second, I realized I hadn't done that. And I exited out of the car and went back to the lobby to change the setup. And then the clock ran out. And what happens is iRacing penalizes you for missing the start. So you actually, like, if you don't hit join before the pace car takes off, you have to go and start from the pits. So I actually started from the pits and ended up joining once the green flag went. I was able to go, but I'm not able to blend in onto the racetrack until off of turn 2 in iRacing. So once that happened, I was way behind, and eventually you get lapped there, and was able to pick up one guy in the draft, but we both got lapped, and then ended up not being able to get my lap back until lap 50, and then lost the draft several times trying to fight in the lead pack and everything, and got caught up in a couple of wrecks once while I was lapped down, and then I think another time when something happened, but all the times really that I wrecked, I took minimal damage really, and so it wasn't really that bad of a deal there. So yeah, the racing was okay, and was able to try to push to stay up front. Of course, once I got down to it and was able to stay up front, but then I think with one lap 165, I think about 35 to go, was pushing on the backstretch on the outside line, and then the guy on the bottom got a bad, as we see the big one happen here with Sage Karam getting spun out. Allgaier is involved, 44, Custer, I don't know who else, and the 26.
Karam,
yeah.
There's a 10 driving through the 00. Justin Allgaier, 44 of Brennan Poole.
Yeah. So
it started with the 00 getting turned into the fence hard, and then he bounced off the wall and came back the other way, and that was basically the end of it there for the defending series champion, who was up front battling for the win, but ends up being wrecked. And then the 26 Sage Karam was running in the top 5 in this race, coming to that restart, and ends up stuck in the grass. Yeah. So does Daniel Dye there.
Yep, so we'll see how that goes now. But anyways, though, so I mean, funny talking about the big one in my race happening on the backstretch, and here we are in the real life Xfinity race, and big one there happens on the backstretch. But no, anyways, so yeah, the guy in the bottom lane got turned right in front of me. I was unable to avoid it, and so then I took a bit more damage there, and then I ended up like backwards I ended up facing the wall with the nose on the backstretch, and I thought I was good, and there was some more oncoming traffic, and I was trying to get it back up into the right direction to not lose positions or whatever. And you'll see, I can point it out in the replay later, but as I had that stream, but I guess while I was backing up, like I thought I was good, but then I backed up into somebody as they were coming by and clipped them and everything, and then it was stupid. He was like, "Oh, F you," and everything, and someone else was like, "Yeah, that was very stupid," and everything, and I didn't say anything yet, and I was just worried to see if I'd be able to continue without any damage or still hold it straight and have acceleration. And then like as we were coming back to catch the pace car and everything, the guy that I clipped slowed up and then decided to hook a right and door me in my left front and everything, and that really angered me there, because I felt like what I did was an honest mistake and everything, and then this guy goes and just intentionally goes and turns the right and gives me, because at that point I had 16x, and then at iRacing if you get 17 penalty or incident points, then you have to come in for a pass through, and so that put me over that, and I got 20x, so then I'd have to come in through a pass through after the caution. And then as soon as he hit me, like, he disappeared, so I guess they iRacing disqualified him, which 25x is the disqualification. So he's already several laps down and everything, and he goes and just doors me there for no reason, really, and in my opinion. And I don't know, that really angered me, which obviously I'm not really somebody that gets too angry or anything, and I was just like, what the hell and everything. And then I keyed the mic and I was like, yeah, what the hell was that for? And the guy that I guess behind us that saw it is like, yeah, I saw that. And so I think he knew. It was like, yeah, it was a dumb move. And the guy got immediately kicked from the race, because he, I guess whatever hit count he was at, I guess he was at 21x or whatever, and immediately as soon as that happened, it kicked him out. So that's on him or whatever, and clearly not a very smart person or whatever. But it just really irritated me that they'd go and do that and go take himself out, and then also penalize me or whatever. And then I guess I was okay, but at that point, like, damage wise or whatever, but I think I stayed in too long because I was trying to figure out what to do and everything, and then ended up accidentally taking tires while I was getting repaired, and then ended up falling down a lap and everything, and then I lost another lap serving the penalty on the restart afterwards. So ended up finishing in 17th place, 2 laps down, pushed the dude to the line to finish, help him pick up positions on the final lap, and finished in help him finish in 12th. So at least there was that, helped somebody there. But I was really, really a bit ticked off about just basically having to work so hard and not get anything out of it the whole race. Working to finish or to get back onto the lead lap, which took about like 3 cautions to do that, and then just fighting to stay within the lead draft and everything, and having to fight to work my way up, and then being like in the top 10, and then getting collected, and then what I talked about with the dude just raging on me or whatever. So ended up 17th, 2 laps down. So it was like, well, I got Saturday plans, so, and Sunday morning, Sunday early afternoon, I've got some stuff I got to do, so I'll just come back on Sunday night 9 p.m. and do it then, which that was the fixed setup race. So ended up running that one, ran a little bit more cleaner in that one, running throughout the field there, and I got up to 4th at the beginning, and then I realized I had an issue with my brake pedal, so I had to come in the first caution, come into pits, and then fix my brake pedal on the computer to make sure it was getting the right sensitivity and input for me that I'm comfortable with, because knowing that there would be possibly a green flag pit stop in this race, especially with how late it is, and maybe people racing conservatively, that I'd need to use my brakes for the pit stop and everything. And so I had to adjust that, so I fell to the back after that, but then it worked my way back up to the lead draft in top 10, top 15, and all that, and managed to stay there for most of the race, and then avoided all the wrecks really throughout the entire race. But then we finally had green flag pit stops. This is the only time I had a green flag pit stop in the basically the entire, like, between my 2 tries. I only had one time that I actually had to make a green flag pit stop, but about lap 135, I was like, all right, we're all gonna, because I lost the lead draft and we were in the second pack. I was about like 3 seconds behind or whatever, and got to lap 135, and I was like, oh well, we're all gonna pit here on lap 134, coming to lap 135, and we're coming to lap 135, and I pull over on off turn 4 to come pit, and I'm the only one there, so I got snaked, I guess, somehow there, and everybody else pitted after me or whatever, but it kind of worked out, and I actually overshot my pit too, but it worked out because I caught up onto one of the I ended up latching on after the cycle through onto one of the better cars in that race, and so we were making up a lot of time push drafting there, and then we caught up onto some lapped guys, and we kind of lost pace, and then we were like, okay, well, let's go to the outside and try to leapfrog these lappers or whatever, and try to get back to leading this and making up time and everything. And we were able to get to the front and everything of that pack, and then we were like, okay, well, let's stay on the high side, and it seemed like if you stay low, everybody ends up having to check up and everything, and we lose time, and it seemed like the top would be faster, but I don't know, for some reason I just couldn't get the handle running the top, and push drafting down the backstretch was okay, but then having to sustain that gap and be able to maintain the push going into turn 3, I don't know why, but like I just couldn't hold it, and then I ended up scraping the wall and falling out of that pack, and then eventually just trying to stay in it and get lapped by the leaders and everything. And then as we were like, okay, when they're like we were gonna pit, I was like, well, okay, I'll just pit with the leaders and try to maintain and everything. And then I pitted, but then a caution came out as they were pitting because the guys that were pitting crashed or whatever, and then the caution came out and it was like, oh, stay behind, and I'm already a lap down. It was like, oh, stay behind the 12 car, and I'm like, I don't know where the 12 car is, so I'll just keep going and then pit, and they'll probably leapfrog me as I pit because I'm lap down anyways. But then they're like, oh no, you're passing under yellow, and now you got to serve this penalty under the green flag. So ended up losing another lap there and serving the penalty, losing another lap. So finished I think either 3 laps down or 2 laps down or whatever. So yeah, just didn't really go my way at any point. I really just got snookered out of there, the draft after the halfway point and everything, and tried to stay with them. But then, as incidents happen and they don't throw the caution, people check up, and then you end up losing the draft. And if you're in the middle or towards the back, and then in the end, if would have been able to stay on the lead lap, may have been able to catch up and everything. But then just compounding mistakes or failure to adhere to the procedures or whatever got me. So just not the way I wanted it to go at all, and everything. But at least out of everybody in the entire field that finished in the fixed event, I took no incident points at all through the race. So it never made contact with anybody that would have given me damage or anything like that. Never spun out or anything like that. So or even like went off track and took a point there. So at least there's that. But on the other hand, I finished 3 laps down in 17th. So that was really, really poor, but it is what it is. But on the other hand, got to witness some real bitching afterwards, because all the guys that were in the lead pack were real pissed off at each other, because one guy tried to pass second on 5 laps to go, and then just came back down and right rear hooked the dude in second, and they were pissed and going at each other on voice chat, and the dude was calling the other guy a dumb fuck and everything, and just calling him names and stuff, and saying, oh, you don't really race with respect, which I think is true. And this other dude was just like, you're not really clean yourself calling me all these names. And, he's like, oh, I'm the high side hustler and whatever. And I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but he's like, yeah, I don't care about anybody but myself, and we're just like, why are you talking like, nobody likes you here? And then you got one of the other dudes like, I hope I never have to see you on the track ever again. So it was just a real entertainment afterwards. So there's that, which, on one hand, I'm like, now that we have this Daytona 500 in real life, it'd be nice if we went back to the old, I don't know if you remember back in 2011 when pretty much it was an open mic on the radio and you could just key anybody and talk to anybody and stuff. And kind of wish we just had an open mic on the radio channels for the drivers and they could just start going at each other in real life. But that'd be funny. But yeah, that's how the iRacing Daytona 500 went for me both times. Just frustrating and everything. So hopefully next year or whatever it'll be better. It's definitely harder to win the iRacing Daytona 500 than it is the Indy 500. Of course, driving skill wise, it's hard for the Indy 500, especially with the setup. But the just the sheer luck it takes to be able to stay up front and everything. It's just a completely different game with the iRacing Daytona 500 versus the Indy 500. So that's coming up, and hopefully we'll be able to do that now that it's back and everything. And hopefully we'll have a better result there and other special events that iRacing puts throughout the year. But yeah, I mean, much like the real one, if you didn't win, you're sulking in some way and hoping that or wishing that you were the guy that won, I guess. But it is what it is.
Yeah, and we're coming to we're at 2 laps to go. Austin Hill hangs Jordan Anderson out. Big move by Buckshot Jones. Buckshot goes Sheldon. Then Chandler Smith is behind Austin Hill. He's not making his move yet for whatever reason. Oh, that didn't work. That definitely did not work.
It's going to be Sheldon Creed versus Chandler.
Come on. Run that frickin' asshole over, please. Oh, send him to frickin' Mars. Send him to Mars.
This is storybook right here. You just got to back up to the 39. Just back up a little bit and get that run down the back stretch.
No. God dang it, man.
Oh, come on. You got to be freaking kidding me. It's just the two of them. And they're not throwing out the caution, but I don't think he's going to have enough because he's clearly slower. He let up.
They backed off.
Wow.
Oh. Ugh.
Yep, that's Daytona. All right. At least they finished the last lap. I'll say that. That's my biggest gripe, with this whole deal. Is at least they got to the finish, and yeah, it wasn't really clean, but at least it played out.
Yeah, that's the only thing you can say there.
Yeah. And hey, well, at least he gave him he said, "You got me there." So, but next time, all right, bet.
Yeah, well, I think he knew he had a chance, and if he had gotten help, he probably would have sent Austin Hill into the woods. But he lost his help when whoever was behind the 39 went and sent Ryan Sieg. 0-0 getting wrecked there late in the race was a big part of it. And so, yeah, you picked Austin Hill
to win
for
next
this
week.
win. You picked him for this race too, so
did I?
Yeah, so
wow.
So credit. So you're 1-for-1 on the Xfinity side.
Why was I rooting against him then? It was right here on the screen to my right, and I just completely forgot about that.
Yeah, it's fine. He's unlikable. He's a douche. And it was because Sheldon Creed, because of my fandom, I wanted to see Sheldon Creed win. I wanted to see him wreck Austin Hill and then win the race. And even fortunately, he backed off. But whatever, who cares? I think Sheldon Creed ran up there all a good amount of the race and was able to keep his car clean, which is something that never really seemed to be the case when he drove for RCR. So I think that first win is coming sooner rather than later. Jordan Anderson finishes third. Parker Retzlaff finishes fourth. So Jordan Anderson Racing gets 2 cars in the top 5. Chandler Smith, 3 Gibbs cars in the top 7. SVG finishes 12th.
Okay,
and he's
not bad.
Involved in at least 3 cautions. AJ Allmendinger 11. Blaine Perkins somehow or another got a top 15 out of it. Can we make an argument that he pulled a Dale Jr.? Once his car got destroyed, it got faster, but I guess it wasn't destroyed that bad. Harkening back to 2003 at Talladega when his right front corner was knocked off Dale Jr. And then he drove under the yellow line too in the process, but they didn't call that. But in Austin Hill's case, his car somehow or another seemingly got faster than it already was. 3rd straight February Daytona win. Yeah, good for him.
Oh, unbelievable.
He's getting into that Anthony Wayne Stewart territory, the way Tony used to win at Daytona.
Yeah, that's true.
In this race, and then
I
figure
know.
out a way to shit the bed when it mattered. But yeah. So with that, I guess that's how. I mean, you can find us. Josh, we can find you at uSailor2 on
Which
on Twitch, and what else? Where else can we find you in the socials?
of course, Twitter, JP Huffine. That's the only real social that I'm active on, of course. One thing I'll say here, looking at Twitter right now, somebody, I guess, quoted Allgaier on the scanner saying Allgaier said someone in turn 3 has the most potent reefer I've ever smelled. I don't know. That's fun.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's that. I mean, I'm sure there's somebody in Daytona that has potent reefer. And so I don't know who that's an official, really, or is that somebody given? Looks like what Paul Swan's. That looks like what's Mariel. I thought it kind of looked like Mariel. She had bigger teeth. It didn't look like she wasn't as good looking. I'm surprised that. Yeah, I'm surprised that RC is with, but then I guess that's because Austin's best friend is married to a black girl, so I guess he has to be all right with the coloreds. You can find me at PG Matthew 28 on Twitter. You can find me Philip G Matthew 28 on Instagram. You can find the Grip Strip Pod basically anywhere you hear podcasts. You can find us on the YouTube page, of course, where Josh uploads all the episodes, and at philipgmatthew.com. So for Josh, I'm Phil. We'll be back next week for episode 209 of the GSP, and we'll talk about, we'll definitely get into the Xfinity Series, Austin Hill, the victor at Daytona for a 3rd consecutive year in the February race, and locks himself into the playoff, and they go immediately to the Daytona 500 replay, and we'll talk about what happened at Atlanta for all 3 major NASCAR series and everything else that goes on in the world of motorsports. We'll talk about here on the Grip Strip Podcast. So for Josh, I'm Phil. Take care. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.